Missy Mixit wrote us back, and we've got an update on what's going on with this catering, this party. So I need you to join me over on the carpet. You're gonna get feedback.
For Timber Trail Elementary teacher Eve King and her 5th grade math class,
I went through them last night, and you guys all did a really good job.
Measuring students' progress is more about assessment rather than testing.
The particular assessment that you're going to be seeing today is a math assessment, doing recipes and cooking with fractions and scaling that up to feed a large amount of people and pricing that out.
So I need to do 200 people, and so this is for 10 servings. And so I need to do that times 20.
2 cans of crushed tomato.
I really want to see if they can take that into a real world setting.
What's 1/4 cup of olive oil?
A half cup for one batch.
I think about the assessment before I actually start thinking about the instruction itself. Pretty much everything that I do in my classroom and that we do as a team here is backward planned. So we always start with the end in mind, which involves the big world-class outcomes that we're trying to make sure that kids have. Being able to assess those world-class outcomes and then those content standards is, of course, a big part of that.
And as these students immerse themselves into a real-world catering situation, Mrs. King will tell you that for students to get an authentic learning experience, they must first be engaged.
It's not necessarily easier, but it definitely makes it more interesting because there's different steps. Like you have to cost out each recipe, and you have to find the value and ratings, and it's really just a lot more in-depth and interesting. And it just requires you to think harder, and it's a better option for learning for me, I think.
We use critical thinking so we can figure out the problems, and so we can think it through without having to ask for so much help. And we use communication by communicating with our partners, because it's important to communicate with our partners or else you won't know what each one is doing. And it's important to collaborate together, because if you don't collaborate together, then you can't get the project done.
3 divided by 60.
King also says that a good assessment is not just something you do at the end of a teaching unit, but a continual daily process.
It's a lot of different things. It's how do they problem solve, how do they persevere in their problem solving, the computation itself and understanding those algorithms. So I'm looking for a lot of different skills every single day.
This for me is a lot harder and different, and it really stretches your thinking, and it makes it more in-depth and fun, and you really learn skills that you're not going to learn by just pencil and paper.
When it's a real-world problem, you really want to do it because you can get into it and act like you're the person in that situation instead of just having to solve other problems. So it really gets you thinking more.
What do you think you're going to have to go do?
I'm going to do $4.50 divided by 20.
In this world-class environment, the students also find that they are assessing themselves as well. And this, King says, is an extremely powerful experience.
There's a huge difference between a kid getting a 3 at the top of their paper versus having all that feedback from peers and from a teacher, and that's powerful.
The steps got harder and harder, and I could see myself starting off at an easy level and getting harder and really progressing through the project.
I know that I've been growing because I've been figuring out more things by myself, and I've been critically thinking more.
And with the challenge of state-mandated testing, King says that challenge can be met by doing what's best for her students in the classroom.
I think we just don't even use the word testing anymore. We're really assessing kids. We're evaluating their knowledge, and we're asking them to evaluate their knowledge. The hope is that our standardized assessments align with what we do in the classroom, right? What we know in education, though, is that those standardized assessments, those state-mandated tests, are not in line with the rigor that we require, especially in this district. And so as a teacher, I've got to do what I believe is right for kids, and that is working with them at the highest levels.